Venerable Buddha in meditation, what he has achieved. We didn't achieve anything. It's just that we're away from anger. Escape from sadness. I no longer feel anxious. I'm not afraid either. Not afraid of old and weak and conquering death. Lord, please show me the way out. Don't cling to the past. And don't dreaming about the future. Just stay in the present moment. I will release the suffering. I can't seem to bear this. My path is for practice. Not to rely on the cult. Or you're not practicing in a practical way. All of my knowledge. It's like a raft. That raft can be used to cross the river. But after we use the raft to cross the river. Do we need to wear it on our heads? To carry that raft or not? On our path of truth, regardless of skin color. Without distinction of ethnicity. These false thoughts are the product of the world. It has nothing to do with impermanent truth. We walk the path of truth. There must be sacrifice. All things in the world become one. Maybe it's like an invisible string that we can't see. If you do good, like a wave crashing against the shore, over time, good karma will follow from one life to another, until the day of enlightenment. On the contrary, if you do evil, there will be many lives to bear the retribution of suffering, and so on. Then all of that becomes the cause of SA's downfall. If you focus mindfulness at every moment in the present, to keep a quiet peace within oneself, not sad, not happy, beyond the flow constraints of karma, will finally witness to the truth of impermanence. The ultimate truth can be witnessed by itself. But enlightenment needs to be practiced on its own. If you've got it, you'll realize that everything is very simple. To understand forgiveness, that's liberation. Liberation has 3 classes. That's keeping the precepts, meditation and wisdom. If we keep the precepts of doing good, then the practice of meditation will naturally grow. But from meditation comes wisdom. If everyone is doing good, when you can overcome desire, resentment, stupidity, illusions and desires, achieving peaceful liberation and security of danger. Keep the 5 precepts. The first world does not kill the lives of sentient beings. All beings are as afraid of death as you are. When you give up killing, then in your heart will naturally arise compassion. The second world, don't steal. And we have to do our best. Help those in need. The third world does not commit adultery. Faithful to your spouse. The fourth world doesn't lie. It doesn't say 2 words without saying a juicy word, or say inappropriate things. The fifth world does not drink things that are intoxicating. There are 3 truths that any human can do. 1 is the large mind. 2 is a kind word. BA is to use the compassionate nature to consecrate throughout life. These 3 quotes. That's the foundation for building humanity. Make sentient beings love-friendly. Even though poor. If we are rich, life has suffering. The only difference is, everyone's suffering is not the same. The Four Noble Truths are the Four Noble Truths. The first truth no one can avoid is suffering. It follows us like a shadow. The second truth, the cause of suffering because of ignorance, greed, anger, grief and anxiety, fear and the seven hopes of self. The third truth, the end of suffering. That's wisdom. It's knowing the truth about yourself, about life. Wisdom and this seeing. It leads to the end of suffering and the creation of happiness. The fourth truth, the path to suffering. That's the 8 paths. To be nourished by mindful awareness. It leads to concentration and wisdom that liberates all suffering. The 8 true paths. Thanks to seeing things as they really are, thinking as they really are. Think like a real person, talk like a real person. The right job. Righteous life, righteous diligence. Right mindfulness will guide our behavior. Thousands of years. We often see it. And criticizing the sins of others. Need to have classics and scholars help them wash away their sins. As we offer sacrifices, for example. But we assert that the cause of all sins, it's all by ourselves. It's also us. We can open the door of liberation. The tears of every living being are salty. The blood is the same red. Who creates false biases to oppress others? It's also our humanity. Today, we're going to erase all those false preconceptions. The challenges to face. Many will also be overlooked. Hate. But the truth remains so strong. In the midst of many difficulties. The face of life is like the shadow of man. Suffering goes on throughout our lives. The cause of suffering. It's an attachment to the outside world. Everything in the world. There is birth and death. It's the law of nature, young or old. The wise or the stupid. Everyone has to die, everything. They can't last forever. Then, the key to liberation lies in the transformation of the soul. Whether sadness comes down or joy comes in. You have to keep the balance between the two. Just practice like that. The chains of suffering are naturally opened. To understand the ultimate truth. One of the mysteries of life. It's freedom from fear. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the pain of the past. It doesn't hold back. Or fear of people in your past. Another truth of life. It's that you're attached to someone or something. But in the end, it also has to be lost. From the moment I no longer reached out my hand for help. That's when you reached liberation. Life and death are inevitable in human life. We think very carefully. They often wake up to themselves. Make yourself not fall into lust. The more we have to live a peaceful life, happy and contented. This is the truth of France. It is the true meaning of life. This truth does not die. It neither begins nor destroys. There's only one thing left. It's quiet. If a man uses his mind to subdue desire and stupidity, then why? They can't find the truth and the way of liberation. If it's just prayer or sacrifice, they'll stay in place forever. They can't step off the starting line. Happy success. Your wealth should be shared with everyone. Stay away from gambling and alcohol. People need to be humble. Friendly but straight. Have the opportunity to offer them bikas. Or practice meditation. They can all eliminate anxiety. Eventually, my soul will feel it. The impermanent silence. The worst enemy of humans is themselves. What we do, that's what we're thinking. Good thinking, good behavior. Bad thoughts lead to bad behavior. That's the law of nature. Hate does not win over hatred. Only love can overcome hatred. It's also the law of nature. Don't cling to the past. And don't even dream about the future. Just stay in the present moment. I will release the suffering. People are often emotionally attached. That's lamb. It's what keeps people away from the truth. From the moment of birth until death. We're afraid of disease and death. That only increases inanimate growth, and it's only our fear. So we need to get rid of all illusions. Once you step out of your imagination, life will also be free to escape from captivity, tranquility and peace. Human cruelty comes from ignorance. Hatred and hatred. You don't. Anger and desire are all born of ignorance. But love forgives compassion. Humbly understand these things. It's always in each of us. Even the most cruel person in the world. They still have integrity. All people in the world have the same enlightened nature. Our religion can transform brutality to become things without fear. When you do the wrong thing, you need to regularly change your behavior. Our thoughts. It's what makes us human. If the thought is not good, it will show in action. Suffering is also born from there, like a rolling wheel in the direction of the hauler's foot. You always think of the good in your heart. Then your work is also good karma. And that happiness, I will be with you forever in this world. When you realize you've made a mistake, then at that moment, I also took my first step on the road. Free yourself. People have to keep it in their hearts, what I'm grateful for. It's like plants, HOA, wind, water, air. They don't belong to us. More and more grateful to everyone. Always be grateful to live and think. That way we'll reap more. It's not useless. If everything is useless, we're not all sick. If you get sick, it's not far away. Your love is like the sky, the sea is wide. All day and night people should not forget. True respect for your mother. There is nothing like living a happy life. If you can live like that, that's the best way to give back to your parents. Live an ideal life, in peace and consecration, meditation and sincere prayer. It's very powerful. They can reduce evil karma. For your children, you must love to protect. And for older people, you have to love and take care of yourself. We must understand compassion. With the AI trying to the weak, no matter how wrong they are. You should also be generous. We have to remember that these opportunities, it's everywhere in our lives. Your anger will make you suffer. Arguments will cause anger. Make people stop in front of the truth. It's just a way to protect yourself. because of the anger. It's like a fire in the palm of your hand. We want to throw it to someone else, but before throwing it away, my hand was burned first. Your beauty will fade in this life. Nothing is permanent. It's always so impermanent. Always low in anxiety. But the attachment to the beautiful. All of that. It's got us tied up in it. And then give birth to it and make it grow. But it's just a passing cloud of smoke. That's the thing that can move people the most. That's the beauty of women. If a man is attracted to a woman's beauty, the South will be far from the way they're going. If you keep going into meditation, the things outside will no longer attract you. It makes you feel safe, not deluded by delusion. The suspect is a deadly disease. It divides people. It's like a poison that kills a friendship. It's like a thorn in the bone. Let's never forget that our own minds. It's what makes us human.